Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be going over that massive low pressure system that is expected to bring a significant amount of rain to areas in California and the western United States. We'll also be talking about the potential for severe weather in portions of the United States heading into later this week. And we'll also be discussing the potential for some snow over the next 24 hours over the Ohio Valley. I'll give you a latest breakdown on all these situations and more, but let's first begin with the nationwide view this morning across the United States, beginning with one of the two troughs that we're watching pretty closely, which one of them is over the Midwest. This has actually brought some snow additionally to what we just saw this past weekend, and there's more snow coming. Not a whole lot out of this trough, but there is definitely a little bit of snowfall, maybe a few inches falling in some areas this morning back over into the Ohio Valley. But other than that, this trough will be weakening as it does move to the southeast. The biggest concern right now in the United States this week in terms of any significant weather is going to be from this trough. It is actually off the coast of California and as well as through Washington, so it's just off to the west of there, but this is a pretty intense trough. It's expected to bring upwards of maybe even 8 to 10 inches of rain to portions of California. So this is a serious trough that we're watching, and it actually has a pretty similar magnitude to what we just saw with that massive winter storm this past week. So these two troughs do have some similarities, but this one likely won't bring a big winter storm to at least the majority of the United States. Let's go day by day here, give you an idea of what to expect. Again, that trough will bring a little bit of snow this morning to the Ohio Valley. It will be weakening off during the daytime today. High pressure will be dominating the eastern half of the United States throughout pretty much a good portion of this week. The only thing that may be noticeable is just a couple of passing showers down in southern Florida, but eventually going closer to mid to late week, we'll have a trough start to shift into the central United States. This could eventually potentially develop into something where it could bring some severe weather, maybe going closer to Friday or Saturday, close to really New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So eventually by Friday into Saturday, that trough really kicks up and develops, potentially brings some severe weather to the southern half of the United States, maybe brings a little winter storm back over into the Midwest. But again, we're kind of early on specific details with that. Eventually going into the following week, maybe another system that develops right on top of that that could bring similar events as well. So two big events really to watch for, most likely going into the long term, maybe an event to start the new year and one to end this year as well. But back over in California, a big concern over the next several days will be rainfall. We'll see several rounds of showers and potentially a few storms in California beginning with the next couple of days, and this will go throughout the next several days, and we'll even have some snow there in the Sierra Nevada, and this will again bring a lot of rain, and it could potentially bring some landslides and as well as some flooding to areas in California. So what does this mean in terms of rainfall totals? Well, it does mean there's a potential for significant rainfall. This is something that is not typical for California, but it is really needed for those people in California right now. Some areas could see upwards of 3 to 6 inches, possibility for an isolated amount or two getting close to 8 to 9 inches of rain as well. And again, that's a lot of rain that they really need, but obviously not in this significant amount of rain, because we could very well see some flooding. So definitely something to be mindful there. But another different story back over again into the Ohio Valley. That potential for snow exists this morning. Most of it is light to maybe moderate, and the only moderate snow really ongoing this morning is back over near Tennessee. But other than that, going throughout the rest of the day today, a couple of passing snow showers for those in Kentucky, maybe into central and southern Indiana, and as well as maybe into Ohio, but nothing that significant is expected out of that. Maybe just an additional coating of snow. Can't rule out a half an inch in a few spots, but the bigger significant, more significant event will be back over in northern Tennessee and western Kentucky, where those areas may pick up an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow. So again, a little bit of snow if you're looking for that back over into those areas. But a big discussion here is the temperatures. A lot of you guys have been cold for the last several days. I do have some good news for you. The good news is that it'll get warmer. The bad news is that this could spawn some severe storms going into the later portion of this week. So again, well above average temperatures are expected going into late this week. All those reds are indicating at least at or above average temperatures. By Saturday into Sunday, we'll continue with above average temperatures across almost the entire country, and eventually going into the following week to begin January, it does seem like we'll probably be at least above average, if not near average, across the majority of the United States. And what does that mean for the temperatures? Well, back over the Midwest, beginning with today, a lot of those areas are right now in the teens and single digits. There is some good news though. There's actually a chance that Chicago gets close to 50 degrees going closer to Thursday and to Friday. So warmer weather's coming for sure. But again, really the biggest change will be across areas into the eastern half of the United States States, back over in the mid-Atlantic regions, those areas will likely see a lot warmer temperatures than what we've seen the last several days. And for those that really want warmer weather, go down to Florida. Those areas could get well into the 80s potentially, and that's again not usual for this time of the year in the state of Florida either. So definitely some improvements there in terms of the temperatures from what we've seen the last several days here across the United States. Now, talking about severe weather, there's again a chance for that going into this upcoming weekend, basically around New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So a trough will develop going into most likely Friday night, could bring some severe weather to the southern plains. It'll eventually shift off to the east, potentially bring a little bit of severe weather to the Dixie Valley heading into maybe Saturday or Sunday. So again, maybe a couple of severe storms, maybe come an outbreak of some sort if there's enough instability. But again, we don't have enough consistency from the computer models to really indicate that we'll have a full-blown outbreak at this point. But it's definitely not out of the question with this sort of setup. So we'll be watching this very closely. Instability values not expected to be significant right now, but that again could change. And if it does change and gets more significant, we could very well be talking about the potential for maybe a little severe weather outbreak. So we'll keep you updated with the latest, but for now, nothing too significant in terms of severe weather is expected. If you enjoyed this forecast, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you're not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.